Our story begins more than 60 years ago inside an abandoned chicken coop, where our founder discovered a retired teacher living, no home, no health care. So she said no to this injustice and yes to transforming lives. It's this drive, this compassion, that inspired AARP. Today, we empower people to choose how they live as they age. As a wise friend and fierce defender, we advocate for better health, financial security, and stronger communities. AARP, join us in making a difference.
As we were developing the format of Food Without Borders and coming up with the description for the 16 episodes that would be shown in this first season of Food Without Borders, our team agreed that November would be dedicated to honoring the native people and their cuisine. So join us on this episode 15 of Food Without Borders, where we focus on the Native American people that are living here in Lancaster, that are honoring and preserving their culture, that are educating on their various tribes, their languages, some customs, some spiritual practices. And we get a chance to get in close on one powwow. We hope you enjoy. And as always, we hope you try the recipe that we share with you today. And always make sure to invite someone to enjoy that meal with you.
In today's episode, we will meet Victoria Valentine. She's seated there with her apron slicing tomatoes next to Emerson. On the other side of Emerson is Sherry, the chef whose recipes we are featuring in today's episode. Their stories are fascinating and a real indication of the hardship and the discrimination that Native Americans have faced in America. And that's why organizations like the Circle Legacy Foundation are working now to remember, preserve, and promote the indigenous culture of Native Americans. One of the Native American dishes we're featuring in this episode is wajapi sauce, made with chokeberries, as Chef Sherry explains.
The wajapi is a fruit soup. Because some indigenous people were nomadic, they would travel from place to place. And when they would travel, one berry might be in season here. They'd go up a couple miles up the area, and another berry would be in season. So they would pick, and we never picked them all. What falls to the ground stays to the ground, because the animals that were eating those berries before us, we need to leave for them. And creation says that we need to leave some so that they regenerate growth.
Sure.
Okay, so the different berries, wherever their nomadic travels would take them, would be dried, and then it would be mixed with the fat of the animal. It could be antelope, it could be deer, it could be elk, buffalo, and that was like their laxative. It's what helped keep them regular. And so Indian fruit soup is used now for pleasure with our fry bread, but back in the day it was actually a means of whatever your dried fruits that you had, it was to help you with your regularity.
To make Chef Sherry's wajapi, or fruit soup, mix blueberries, chokeberries, and cranberries with 2 tablespoons of honey. Place in a crock pot or slow cooker. Cook on low for 3 to 4 hours, stirring after each hour. Using a blender, puree half of the berry mixture. If adding honey, add 2 tablespoons. Stir gently to combine.
So everybody here is making a fry bread.
Fry bread.
And Allie
is
kneading the dough. And then she'll break it into pieces. And it gets fried. Cherie's frying. And it gets stacked there. And the customer's over there to the left. And then
I hope they
Marianne-
have enough in there to last. I'll make some more.
To make Chef Sherry's fry bread, begin with 4 cups all-purpose flour, a tablespoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons powdered milk, 1½ cups warm water, or if you don't have powdered milk, use 1 3/4 cup warm milk and no water. You'll need about 2 cups of oil for frying. Heat the oil in a deep fryer or large saucepan. Combine flour, baking powder, and salt in a large bowl. Mix in milk, warm water to form a soft dough. Divide dough into 18 2-inch dough balls. Flatten or roll each dough ball into a 1/2 inch thick round. Make a small hole in the center of each round to help with frying. Lower the dough into the hot oil and fry for about 2 to 3 minutes, or until the rounds have bubbles on the surface and are golden brown. Transfer to a paper towel-lined plate and repeat until all dough is fried. Fry bread can be served with savory fillings such as beans and cheese and chili, onions, lettuce, and tomato, like the Danae tacos we saw Vicky, Sherry, and Emerson preparing at the beginning of this episode. Or they can be served with sweets like a strawberry shortcake topped with strawberries, whipped cream, or on the side with the popular berry sauce, wasabi. Vicky and Sherry are working hard to preserve and promote the legacy of the Native American peoples in our area. One of the resources is called the Circle Legacy Foundation, which Vicky founded. Efforts like this powwow to help people better understand the Native customs, cuisine, and culture can help expand the understanding and more recognition of the inherent dignity and rights of Native American people.
Any grass dancers, if you're here, start heading for the east gate if there's any grass dancers here. Any grass dancers, start coming to the east gate.
That they don't have a true identity, and the identity they have would be like I had as a child, not knowing who you were, where you came from, and what part of community that you can go back to. We need to know who we are, and we need to go back to those communities. We cannot duplicate our elders' teachings by the hard times they've been through and the examples they left by duplicating the process if we don't know what direction we came from.
Emerson's interest in indigenous cultures was heightened when he attended a lecture on warrior women. There he met Victoria Valentine, founder of the Circle Legacy Foundation, a regional nonprofit working to preserve and maintain and enhance an understanding of Native American culture in our area.
Communities about the Native people, and also then to get the communities to support Native efforts and Native peoples and programs.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about the Circle Legacy.
Well, we're a nonprofit organization since 2007, and we have different projects. We have Second Friday programs here at Community Mennonite Church from September to May, and then during the summer we have projects at museums around Lancaster, like the Indian Steps,
Right.
Blue Rock Heritage Center. We work with them a lot, and Conestoga Museum. And we work with Carlisle Indian School, and some of our people help with helping Native peoples reclaim the remains of their children. So we have a couple of people from Circle Legacy that help out with that. And, you know, just really educating the public. Oh, and yeah. Oh, yeah. The long. We also help out with the longhouse at Hans Her. Actually, help them build that.
Wonderful. How many people are involved in the Circle Legacy Foundation?
I don't know. changes all the time. We have a lot of volunteers. We have a really solid, more than 51% Native American board. And then we help out with different projects and programs involving Native peoples. So we're always busy.
Right. Have you seen a change in the level of respect that non-Indian folks have of Native Americans?
I think, I think that Native people are more recognized. I think that people realize that Native American people and culture, and all indigenous people from around the globe, from Africa, the indigenous peoples, and indigenous people in South America, Asia, anywhere. Anybody's living off the land and connected to, interdependent and interconnected to the land with their customs and taking care of the land while also sustaining their own lives. I think people are realizing that this needs to be done, and that the Native people, the indigenous people, got it right when they were living interdependently and interconnected to the environment.
Awesome.
So I think, especially with the environmental awareness, that people are getting more connected to the indigenous ways.
It's more natural and more sustainable.
Exactly.
Less energy dependent.
Exactly. And even Native people, almost all the Native people I've talked to agree, because a lot of Native people, they didn't want to share their culture, their spirituality outside of their community circles because of, back in the 1800s, they were slaughtered for their spirituality. They were prevented from their ceremonies. It was against the law to perform their ceremonies, and were even killed for performing their ceremonies. So Native people for a very long time didn't want to talk to and share their culture. But now they realize we're at a very critical point in humanity that we got to start taking care of each other and taking care of the earth. And so Native people realize that and realize they have to share their culture for the survival of
everyone.
Humanity.
Right.
And kids, do they have bags?
Are there bags?
Kids, they're getting ready for the candy dance. For kids 12 and under. They throw candy on the ground.
That's okay. I like that. Hey.
Then all the kids, they go out and pick up the candy dance, or pick up the candy.
Mom. She's a little cart carrying. And the grass dancers, if you're here, start heading for the east gate. If there's any grass dancers here. Any grass dancers, start coming to the east gate.
As we begin to understand the culture of Native American peoples, it's important to remember that they were hunters and gatherers, using manual weapons to slay the beasts that soon became their feast. Here Bob explains how to hit your target and to sharpen your spear.
Okay, this is an ladder spear thrower, and everybody throws slightly different. I stand sideways, roughly 45 degrees. You're okay? Can you see me all right?
Yep.
Okay. So here goes nothing. Well, hit the target at least.
Yep. So aim for the target. And what would Native people do
This
with
was
an
what
atlatl?
they used as their primary hunting weapon before they had the bow and arrow.
Okay.
So literally, like I was telling these ladies, when they were hunting mammoth and mastodon and the megafauna, this was the weapon they were using, guaranteed.
Awesome. Anything else?
The oldest examples that I can find in my literature is they found examples of the thrower that are 40,000 years old over in Europe. So they were using this for a long time, because the bow is much more recent.
Okay.
So what made the spear so effective? The sharp tip at the end, which was made of flint, and Bob explains how the early indigenous people hand smashed that stone to create a sharp point.
Definite stone tools that I think they pushed it back now from 2.7 million years to 3.2 or 3.3 million. So human beings have been doing what I'm doing here for 3.3 or 3.2 million years. Thinning it down, getting an edge, a working edge is a good way to describe it. It's good, what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I got a heavy spot there, a curve and a heavy spot, so I got to blend that in.
Mm-hmm.
So little nibbles like this set you up for the big flakes.
Okay, pause.
Just trying,
No,
and I'm not used to being filmed, so
I know.
definitely not a movie star, that's for sure.
Okay, now you're going again.
So now I'm going to rub that so the flakes will travel further.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using that hammerstone, that rough part of the hammerstone, which is quartzite, which makes a great rubbing / hammerstone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a piece of Burlington chert from Illinois. It's been heat treated, so it flakes a little easier.
Mm-hmm.
And the Indians knew to do that too.
Okay, so then, wait a minute.
And you know, the techniques that I'm using here are what's called Aboriginal tools and techniques, which is the same way Neanderthals, Homo erectus, Native Americans, they all would have used antler as like the most perfect tool out there to flint knap with. It's soft enough to grab the edge, but hard enough to take a flake off.
Gotcha.
And we're pretty as positive as we can be. They were using antler too.
This episode clearly took us back to nature. Nature hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, when indigenous people roamed these lands, gathering water from nearby streams, growing crops, and harvesting them using handmade tools like the flint spear that Bob showed us how to make. We're so grateful to the Circle Legacy Foundation for reminding us of our need to be more respectful of the environment and of all peoples.